Welcome to Salem Witch Trials Daily, the podcast where we take you day by day through the events of 1692. I'm Josh Hutchinson. Today is March 11th, and the atmosphere in Salem Village is fraught with tension and terror.
This is Sarah Jack. Just 4 days ago, on March 7th, the first three accused women, Tituba, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne, were transferred out of local custody and sent to the freezing, vermin-infested dungeon in Boston. The authorities had them placed in heavy iron shackles, firmly believing that chaining the physical body would prevent their invisible specters from roaming around and harming the community.
But if the magistrates thought that locking away these three women would end the crisis, they were completely wrong. The nightmare in Salem is far from over, and the girls' terrifying fits are only continuing.
Desperate to stop the assault on his household, Salem Village Minister Samuel Parris calls for spiritual reinforcements. Today, March 11th, several area ministers gather at the Salem Village Parsonage to hold a solemn fast and pray for the recovery of the afflicted girls.
Among the visiting clergy is Reverend John Hale, the minister from the neighboring town of Beverly.
We actually have a vivid description of what this day of fasting and prayer looked like inside the cramped, tense parsonage. According to accounts later reported by Robert Califf, the afflicted girls were present while the reverends prayed over them. Interestingly, the afflicted persons were, for the most part, completely silent as long as a prayer was actively happening.
However, the moment any one of those ministers ended his prayer, the chaos erupted once again. The girls would immediately begin to act and speak in strange, ridiculous ways.
Observers specifically noted the terrifying behavior of Abigail Williams. They watched in horror as she would fall into a severe convulsive fit. Her limbs twisted in unnatural directions and her body be completely stiff, only for the fit to suddenly pass a moment later.
To the men in the room, this wasn't a medical issue. This was proof of an evil hand. Reverend Hale himself noted that the girls in Salem were suffering just as badly as the famous case of the Goodwin children in Boston 4 years earlier, but with even worse torments, claiming they were being invisibly stuck with pins and pricked with irons.
Reverend John Hale's presence today is deeply significant. At this stage, he fully supports the witch hunt and believes the girls' afflictions are real.
Months later, when the accusation spirals so far out of control that his own pregnant wife is accused of witchcraft, Hale's perspective shatters. He realizes the horrific mistakes the courts have made. He will go on to write a groundbreaking book titled A Modest Inquiry into the Nature of Witchcraft, admitting that the authorities had relied on flawed, ancient assumptions about how to identify a witch, leading to the shedding of innocent blood.
But on this cold day, March 11th, 1692, that realization is months away. Today, the fasting and praying do not cure the girls.
For Reverend Parris, Reverend Hale, and the other men in the room, the continued afflictions prove one terrifying thing. Tituba, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne were not acting alone. The devil is still in Salem, and the witch hunt must expand.